So I wanted to just do a really quick video today on how to really make the most of your Shopify bots. So I've made a quick flowchart diagram, as you can see here, with all the stages in BalcoBot. So whenever you run a task in BalcoBot on a Shopify website, you'll always start at the start task. You will then get to a queue or password page on a hyped release or on a website with a password, for example DSM. It then creates a checkout and then submits that info, so that'll be your billing info it's submitting. It then monitors for whatever item you're looking for. So I've sort of described the methods here. So most people will be aware that keywords are the slowest way of picking up an item. Product URL or an early link is faster, and even faster than that are variants. Some websites you can't actually scrape variants for. So for example, like Kith, you can't scrape variants for, but then some websites you can. So for example, Shop and Ice Kicks you can do. And if you use variants mode, it's going to be much quicker at picking up the item than with a task using keywords or product URL. So the monitor delay should be dependent on your task to proxy ratio. Recently, there's been a change in Meta where people are tending to run a higher delay of around 1,000 milliseconds, even 2,000 milliseconds, and a lot of tasks. And the reason for this is because of this stage right here. So what you'll notice is a lot of these stages do sort of link up with one another, and what you do in them will influence another stage of the checkout process. So you notice here you got a queue and password page. So before, if you started at a particular time, you'll be able to sort of bypass the Shopify queue if you started half an hour early. Not anymore. They've completely changed it so that whenever you start your tasks, at whatever point, you'll always be put in a queue on a sort of high demand release. So in order to increase your chances of getting your tasks through the queue, you want as many tasks as you can possible running on your bot on that website, and that will sort of increase the likelihood of at least one of them getting through. So if you do that, you then have to sort of compensate with the delays, because if you're running 10 tasks with 100 proxies, and if you're running 50 tasks with 100 proxies, then the 50 tasks with 100 proxies is going to get banned faster if you run at the same delays as with 10 tasks with 100 proxies. If you need to know more about that, then feel free to read our proxy guides. There should be more information in there. So as I said, the current meta at the moment is sort of run higher delays and plenty of tasks. Higher delays allows you to run more tasks as it reduces the risk of you getting banned. You can use some of the commands in the Discords, which will help you calculate the delays you can be using, the sort of safe delays you can be using. Just remember though that in the last sort of 10 seconds or 5 seconds of the drop, you can sort of drop your delays lower than the recommended delay. And the reason for that is because you're probably not going to be running your tasks for hours and hours on end, and those delays listed to you through the calculators are the safe delays. So they're delays that you can run for ages and ages and ages and you won't get banned. If you just need to run some tasks for 10 minutes, you can drop those delays to lower than what's recommended. So for example, if you do the calculations and it says you can only do X number of tasks with X number of proxies for 1,200 milliseconds, you can sort of still just run your tasks at 800 and it will still last a long while before they do get banned. So next stage is getting sizes. So the only thing really to note about this is to just confirm that your size formatting is correct. So for a website such as DSM Japan, you need to use Japanese sizing. So go and find yourself a size chart online, just Google US to Japanese shoe sizing converter and you should find something. The next stage after that is adding to cart. So you've found your product, you've picked up the sizes, you've picked up the size you want, you're then adding that size to the cart, and then after you've added that size to the cart, you'll either get a capture or you won't get a capture. If you select force capture in your task, you'll always get a capture regardless if the site needs it or not. So confirm beforehand whether a site does need capture. Some are sort of on and off. So for example, Kith will sometimes need capture and sometimes won't. So in those sort of circumstances, it's recommended to run some tasks with and some tasks without force capture. So the next stage after this is submitting checkout. So this is sort of the first stage of the checkout process, and you'll also see this if you're running restocks mode, specifically on Balco. So what it does is it's literally just clicking the checkout button pretty much. If you're running restocks mode, the variant will be scraped by the bot, and then it will add that item to cart, even if it's not in stock, and then it will sort of loop around submitting checkout, out of stock, submitting checkout, out of stock. Now you can imagine that being a lot quicker for a checkout process than going through all of this process here if you didn't have the restock mode on. So by using restock mode, you'll be able to skip through all of these stages here, and you'll literally just be flicking from here to these last 3 stages. So that's how you pick up restocks really quickly with Balco, which is why it kills restocks so much. Completing checkout is sort of just the next step from submitting checkout. Not much to say about it, but what there is much to say about is the checking order. So once you get checking order, generally means you copped. Just check your emails. Alternatively, if you don't get checking order, you will get an out of stock. So unfortunately, it's going to be one or the other at this point. Often we find that you can get stuck at a particular stage. So if you get stuck at getting sizes, or you get stuck at queue or password page, or stuck at even before you start the task on idle, it often just means you've got bad proxies. So that's the most common thing. If you do get an error at any point, it's usually due to bad proxies as well. Any sort of stuck tasks stages are due to bad proxies.